Senator Stevens, you want to say something?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I just we've been talking about firearms and weapons today, and I just want to put something in the record that I think we should not forget. And I'm quoting from the Bruen case. This is Supreme Court 142, Supreme Court 2111, 2022. Quote, "We hold that when the Second Amendment's plain text covers an individual's conduct, the Constitution presumptively protects that conduct. To justify its regulation, the government may not simply posit that the regulation promotes an important interest. Rather, the government must demonstrate that the regulation is consistent with this nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. Only if a firearm regulation is consistent with this nation's historical tradition may a court conclude that the individual's conduct falls outside the Second Amendment's, quote, unqualified command," end quote. And so as we're discussing, we have to be careful about thinking through what lawsuits we may expose the state to, where people who are presumptively presumed to be able to carry, we're putting in restrictions on that are outside the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation. So basically, and then the case goes through tons of discussion about historical context of when and what was happening at our nation's founding, and then somewhat when the Civil War amendments were adopted, which play into it also. But there has to be some historical tradition for regulating the carrying and bearing of arms, or there is a possibility of it being overturned and exposure to the state to liability for infringing upon the Second Amendment rights of individuals.